This routine is going to walk through a series of C.A.Rs, controlled articular rotations, or in other words, moving a joint through a full range of motion, a full circle throughout the entire body to address all the major joints that you're going to use in your training session. Starting with the hand. We're going to grab one thumb, take the other hand, and crank around into 5 circles in one direction, and then 5 circles in the other direction. To create more stability or more anchor, you can always put your hand against your belly. Moving to the next finger. The fingers other than the thumb don't move quite as circular, so you're going to make more of an oval. Grabbing past that first knuckle, and then 5 the opposite direction. Going to keep progressing all the way through one hand until we switch to the next. Make sure that as you are turning the joint in that circle or that oval position for these fingers, that you're not feeling any kind of pain, but we are feeling a stretch. On the other hand, starting with the thumb again, a little bit more of a wide circle. Again, you can place the hand against the body to create an anchor. Moving to the fingers next. Feel free to slow down accordingly if you need a little bit more stretch or if you need to be able to feel that movement a little bit more if it's uncomfortable. And finishing on that last digit, 5 repetitions each direction. The next controlled articular rotation, or C.A.R, is going to be for the wrists. Clasping fingers, keeping the forearms closer together. We're going to try and draw a circle at the wrist, starting by focusing on one wrist guiding the movement, so letting one wrist be the driver. Then, say using the same wrist, try and go the opposite direction. So right now, for instance, my right wrist is being the driver, my left wrist is following along. Now I'm going to switch it and focus more on the left wrist here to drive before taking it the opposite direction. Next, we're going to work on the elbows. We need to set our position first by pulling our shoulder blades down and back, arms out to the sides. Pretending like we're grabbing a pair of glasses and putting them on our face, we're going to sweep the arm around in a circle, all the way around and back. 5 circles one direction, followed by 5 the opposite direction. So now we're going to pretend to take the glasses off and throw them away. All while keeping those shoulder blades pulled back, arms up and out to the sides. Next, we'll address the shoulder blades. I'm going to turn around for just a moment so we can get a better shot on that one. We're going to shrug all the way up, shoulders to the ears, depress our shoulders all the way down, 5 times in each direction. Next, we're going to round our shoulders forward and pull our shoulder blades back, forward, back, pulling the jacket across the body, opening the jacket all the way apart, rounding, pulling back. And then last, we're going to take all of those and combine them together in a full circle. So if we start by shrugging our shoulders up to the top, we're going to then roll our shoulders forward, pull them down by depressing them, roll them around back, pinching them together as we start to shrug back up and complete that circle. All of the motion is happening in the shoulder blade, but you see the shoulders rising, coming forward, depressing, and pulling back all the while. Reverse directions, so make sure now that we start at the top by pulling down and back between the shoulder blades, depressing toward the ground, and rounding back forward again before rising up at the top again and all the way around. If you look from the side, your shoulder should be moving in a circle. Good. Up next, we're going to focus on just one arm at a time, creating small shoulder circles here by extending the arm out straight. Create a small, nice, symmetric circle, not an oval, as best as you can. Imagine lengthening out at the middle finger, pointing all the way straight out with that arm, and then gradually increasing the size of the circle. If it helps to turn the palm in a different direction as you're completing that circle, you can turn the palm in. As you start to come around back, turn the palm out, pinky pointed toward the ceiling as you wrap all the way around and back down. Once you've reached your widest circle and gone 5 times, we'll go the opposite direction, starting the same way. Small circle, now moving counterclockwise until we gradually build to a bigger circle. If you do feel pops, clicks, or snaps in the shoulder, slow down the motion, smooth it out, see if you can accomplish that without feeling or hearing any of those sensations. Big circle, as wide as you can get it, again, without any of those feelings of discomfort. And then switch to the other side. Same cues here. We'll start clockwise, small circle, gradually building just a little bit bigger, keeping the pace controlled so as not to go too fast to create an oval or a square. Once we build to our biggest circle, find the way to move through that circle so that we can keep it nice and symmetric and pain-free. with as little sensations in the shoulder as possible. If we do hear that popping, clicking, or snapping, slow it down, smooth it out. That's your time to focus on that. Don't forget to go the opposite direction too. So we'll start small again, counterclockwise again, gradually building up in size. And once we've reached our biggest circle, slowing it down enough to feel that whole motion nice and smoothly. After you've completed those 5, we're going to move on to the neck next. Working here, we're going to take our hands, clasp fingers together behind the back, extend the arms down nice and straight so that the shoulders drop away from the ears. We're going to keep holding that while we take our spine and lengthen as tall as possible. Starting at just the chin here, we're going to tuck the chin down without rounding through the upper back, so it's staying nice and tall, and then chin all the way up to the sky. Chin down, chin all the way up. 5 times in each direction. Next, if you need a break, you can always relax your hands, shake them out, and then put them back into that clasp position behind the back, pulling and extending the arms down away from the ears. You're going to then turn your neck so that you look over your shoulder, and then to the opposite direction, looking over the shoulder. Again, try to visualize as much length and create space between each individual vertebrae in your spine so that you're standing up nice and tall. You should feel the head staying center as you pivot instead of the head tilting or leaning to the side. And lastly, we're going to imagine with the same protocol with the hands behind the back, creating length behind you. Imagine a fish hook in the corner of your mouth, pulling you up, tilting your head so that your ear comes closer to your shoulder. We're going to try bringing that ear to the shoulder on one side, feeling that stretch on the side of the neck, and then same thing on the other side. Again, imagine that fish hook pulling you up. Same on the other side, fish hook. And just like we did with the shoulder blades, now we're going to combine all of those motions into one complete circle at the neck, keeping those hands clasped behind the back. Bring the chin down to the chest, roll the head out to the side, begin to look up toward the ceiling, lifting the chin up and back, completing that circle all the way around to the opposite side without leaning or compensating otherwise through your posture, just moving about the neck. Taking the time to slow down anywhere where it does not feel smooth. If it feels sticky, choppy, clicky, snappy, slow down the motion so that you can create some control. Same thing on the other side, completing 5 repetitions of circles. And most importantly too, for safety reasons, make sure that if you do begin to feel dizzy or otherwise need a second, you'd pause before returning to that exercise. Excellent, moving on, we're going to take our focus now to the lower body here. You can place your hands on your hips if you are well balanced, or you can move over to a wall or a support if you need to place that hand on something to gain a little bit more balance and control. We're going to lift one leg up, balancing on this leg. We're taking our focus to the other one that's up in the air with the leg nice and straight. Imagine your big toe here is a marker or a pencil. We're going to try and use that marker or a pencil to draw a big circle at the ankle. With the toe driving the movement, the ankle follows. What we're trying to do here is slow it down and smooth it out enough so that our foot doesn't make cuts as if it's creating a square or a diamond, but instead a nice smooth circle all the way around. Don't forget to do the opposite side as well, the opposite direction. We're going to go counterclockwise and clockwise on the same ankle before switching to the other foot. Once you switch to the other side, make sure again that you soften up the movement first with some smaller circles until gradually making it a bigger circle, completing 5 repetitions at your biggest, smoothest circle. Once you've done that, switch directions so that you're now going the opposite. If you're going clockwise first, now you're going counterclockwise. Once we've completed that, we're going to stay balanced on one leg again, and we're going to just pretend to lightly, gently kick a soccer ball, but with the toes pointed forward. So we're essentially swinging the door hinge at the knee. Make sure not to feel any kind of sensations of discomfort here by loosening too much. You do want to make sure that you're lifting that leg up into the air to give it a little bit of support and some activation to those muscles. We'll switch sides and do the same thing on the other side. Heel to butt and toes pointed all the way straight out forward. And lastly here, we're going to focus on the hips. Pretend like you're wearing a hula hoop. We're going to take the hips to a nice wide circle, making sure that in no direction that we're compensating by putting too much pressure, let's say in the low back, by leaning too far forward here, or by sitting too far backward here when our hips are in front of us. We're going to keep everything gentle at first with a small circle, and then we're going to change directions and do the opposite direction. Allow the knees to move freely here. And once you've completed 5, that will round off your C.A.R.S routine.